Evening stretches long and trembling over the horizon. The sun bleeds into gold, then amber, then a bruised violet. Clocks seem louder tonight, their ticking cuts through the hush like a pulse in the air. Dust turns to drifting motes, each one catching the last of the light, glimmering as if alive. A strange calm hums beneath everything, the kind that comes before revelation or ruin. The protagonist stands by the window, watching dusk settle over the city roofs. Beneath that beauty, something stirs. A presence, old as breath, ripples through the air. The curtains lift without wind. The light bends, whispering the protagonist's name so softly it could be imagination. But no, there it is again, faint, melodic, aching. Somewhere deep inside, the heart remembers that voice. Gabriel has found the threshold once more, pleading through gold and silence. Message 2, the whisper. The sound begins like a sigh within the walls, but it gathers shape, syllables threaded with light, calling the protagonist's name as though through miles of water. The curtains ripple inward, the air trembling with the rhythm of wings unseen. A presence drifts closer, warm yet immense, carrying sorrow. The protagonist's skin prickles. No, they whisper, voice breaking. I thought I was done hearing that voice. The words vanish into the charged stillness, and the whisper answers, softer this time, closer. The golden motes spiral faster now, aligning themselves as though choreographed by divine intent. For one moment, the scent of rain and burning myrrh floods the room. The ticking of the clock slows. Listen, the voice breathes, for the hour shortens. The protagonist presses their palms to their ears, trembling, but the whisper moves through them like light through glass. Message 3, missed call from beyond. A vibration inside their pocket, an old phone, forgotten and nearly dead. One unread message. The same number that once appeared months ago, the one they dismissed as spam, though the text had glowed faintly on the screen, open this before nightfall. The memory of that dream returns, a door of light half open, the shape of wings turning away when they failed to answer. They thought it was nothing. But tonight, that same presence stands in the room's hush, unyielding. The protagonist's throat tightens as they swipe open the screen. No message now, just static, like radio snow. Then a single word forms, flickering through the distortion, again. The temperature drops. The windows hum. Something wants to be heard before the dark arrives. From nowhere, a quiet voice, you were warned once, my child. Do not turn away again. Message 4, rising unease. Outside, streetlights tremble as though shivering under invisible wings. A low vibration crawls up from the floorboards, pulsing like a distant choir trapped beneath the earth. The protagonist's pulse keeps time with it, faster, frightened, yet drawn forward. Their reflection in the glass is overlaid with light that doesn't belong to any lamp in the room, pale, feathered, sentient. The air smells of lightning and tears. Why now? They murmur. Why tonight? The reply comes as a breeze that shapes words in the curtain's folds, because mercy has an hour, and it passes swiftly. The hum crescendos, dust motes dance like a constellation reborn. From somewhere unseen, faint wings rustle, brushing against the veil between realms. The protagonist feels watched, loved, and terrified all at once. And still the clock ticks louder, counting down to something unnamed. Message 5. The feather burns. A sudden silence swallows everything, the hum, the ticking, even the protagonist's breath. Then, faintly, a sound like parchment catching fire. They turn. On the wooden floor lies a single white feather, its edge shimmering with gold. It quivers once, as if breathing, then ignites without smoke, burning in a whisper of blue flame that casts no heat. The light flickers through the room, illuminating shadowed corners where unseen eyes might linger. The protagonist stumbles back, whispering, "Gabriel?" The name feels both forbidden and inevitable. The flame vanishes as quickly as it came, leaving only the faint scent of rain and the echo of wings receding into distance. From the darkness behind them, a voice as old as starlight murmurs, "I warned you once, my child. You must listen tonight." Message 6. Flashback, the ignored sign. Memory floods in, last winter, a candle that refused to die. Each night its flame bent toward the same shadowed corner, where light curved unnaturally. The protagonist laughed then, calling it draft or chance, anything but omen. Yet now that same angle of glow returns in memory, a constant beckoning they refuse to heed. They remember the dream of an open gate, the morning after when a feather appeared on the windowsill and dissolved at touch. Coincidence, they had told themselves, locking every sense against wonder. But wonder is patient, and divine messengers do not tire easily. The recollection thickens the air, the scent of wax and regret mingling. The whisper returns from the past, echoing inside their ribs, ignoring light invites shadow. Message 7. Candlelight memory. In the remembered room, candlelight bends again, each flame leaning as though called by something unseen. The walls glimmer, expanding and contracting with breath that isn't human. The protagonist watches their younger self seated at the table, staring into the wax pool, oblivious to the luminous shape hovering just beyond sight. "You could have seen me then," the echo of Gabriel murmurs. "You were so close." Regret burns slow and bright. The flickering light forms a halo around the memory, shifting into gold runes on the ceiling, words that once meant salvation but now tremble like fading stars. "Beloved," whispers the voice from the past, each refusal dims the song meant to save you. The candle goes out, plunging the memory into endless night. Message 8. Guilt and disbelief. Back in the present, the protagonist grips the table's edge. The vision's afterimage lingers, a dim glow under their eyelids, the taste of ash and incense. They can hardly breathe. Guilt coils through them, sharp and alive. "This can't be real," they whisper. "It was just light, just memory." Yet even as they speak, the air ripples like heat above a flame. The voice answers, distant but clear, "To doubt what is divine is to delay what is merciful." Tears rise unbidden, a mixture of fear and yearning. Every forgotten prayer rushes back to them, murmured words in empty rooms, unanswered and soon abandoned. The guilt shifts into something heavier, recognition. Somewhere deep inside, they know Gabriel never stopped calling. They were simply too afraid to answer. Message 9. The 3 knocks. A sound interrupts the spiraling thoughts, 3 slow, deliberate taps on the door. Each one lands like a heartbeat too heavy for silence. The protagonist freezes. The knocks repeat, precise, patient, neither threatening nor kind. Behind the door, the light dims as if something immense stands just beyond it. They take one step forward, drawn by an instinct older than language. The air tastes metallic, the scent of rain deepens. "Who's there?" they call, though part of them already knows. The answer is not words but the faint sound of feathers brushing wood. Then, nothing. The third knock lingers in their bones, pulsing like a signal from the other side. In that heartbeat of stillness, a realization dawns. Gabriel never stopped speaking, they simply never learned how to listen. Message 10, End of the flashback. The world steadies, but only barely. The protagonist blinks, the door stands open, yet the hallway beyond is a corridor of gold mist. Every particle glows, pulsing softly to the rhythm of breath. From within that light, a shape begins to form, not seen but felt, as though the air itself has memory. "You asked for proof," the voice intones, resonant and sorrowful. "So I have come again." The protagonist's knees weaken. "Why me?" they manage to ask. The light flickers, a heartbeat of radiance answering, "Because you still have time." The words hang in the air like a verdict and a promise. A wind rushes inward, carrying the faintest echo of bells from somewhere impossibly far away. The clock strikes once, midnight approaching, and the story's true night begins. Message 11, The air thickens. The room hums as though the atmosphere itself has turned to liquid light. Every breath draws resistance, heavy with invisible radiance. Dust transforms into shimmering motes, spiraling upward into patterns that almost resemble wings, or sigils written in movement itself. The protagonist can feel the nearness now, not just as a sound but as a vibration through skin and bone. It's as if reality has inhaled, waiting. "Gabriel," they whisper, though fear warps the word into something fragile. The reply is both within and without, "Beloved, I am near." The veil thins. Windows pulse with pale illumination, casting sacred geometry across the walls, triangles of blue fire, circles of white resonance. The hum grows into a low chord of choral thunder. Somewhere between awe and terror, they fall to their knees, clutching the floor as light trembles between worlds. And from within the brilliance, a voice rises that sounds like 100 choirs weeping in unison, "Precious soul, the door between worlds closes at midnight." Message 12, Sigils of sound and light. The space warps, folding into itself like cloth of living light. Shimmering patterns emerge, dancing with a rhythm older than music. The symbols aren't static, they move, breathe, sing. Each pulse of illumination resonates through the protagonist's chest, rearranging the beat of their heart to match a divine cadence. Fear becomes reverence, reverence becomes ache. The sound builds, a tone too wide for hearing, yet somehow understood. It shapes emotion into comprehension. You were meant to listen, not to reason. The protagonist presses their palms to their ears, but sound passes through matter like wind through silk. The sigils unfold into vast mandalas, vibrating with color, sapphire, opal, fire gold. For an instant, they glimpse eyes within the light, kind and endless. "Stop," they gasp. "It's too much." The glow flickers, mercifully dimming, yet the voice remains. Too much light only blinds those still hiding in shadow. Stay with me. Message 13, between fear and awe. The clock's hands spin slower, though time itself feels fractured. The protagonist stumbles toward the window, desperate for a horizon, an anchor, something familiar. But the view outside is unrecognizable. The city appears suspended in silence, bathed in soft luminescence. No cars move, no leaves tremble. It's as if the world is being held in divine suspension. The whisper curls around their thoughts, gentle but unyielding. Why me? They plead. I'm no prophet. I don't deserve, the voice interrupts, not harshly, but with a tenderness that erases pride. Deserving has never been the measure of calling. The statement echoes through every cell. The protagonist collapses to their knees as tears rise, fear, disbelief, and something like homecoming intertwined. In that luminous pause, they understand, Gabriel isn't angry. He's urgent. Mercy itself has a deadline, and midnight approaches like judgment cloaked in grace. Message 14, Time's Pulse. From somewhere beyond walls and reason, the sound of ticking resumes. But now it is no ordinary clock, it's cosmic, each beat reverberating through the bones of existence. With every tick, a pulse of blue light radiates outward, illuminating the contours of the room and the outline of the messenger drawing near. The protagonist clutches their chest, feeling the rhythm align with their own heartbeat until they can't tell where one ends and the other begins. The scent of ozone sharpens, mingling with the sweetness of frankincense. What happens at midnight? They manage to ask. Silence. Then the faintest whisper, separation. The word lands heavy, too vast to comprehend, yet instinct screams its truth. The protagonist looks to the ceiling as cracks of light web across it like veins of glass, each tick causing the fissures to spread. The countdown has begun, not of hours but of mercy itself. Message 15, the stillness before entry. Then, all sound ceases. The hum, the ticking, the pulse of blue light, all vanish into vacuum. The silence is absolute, so pure it roars in the ears. The protagonist's breath echoes too loud. They sense something vast waiting just beyond perception, like a mountain poised to speak. The air itself seems to pray. And then, softly, the clock begins again, one slow tick, heavy as thunder. Another. Another. The lights flicker once, twice. Then the room erupts in brilliance. A column of radiance descends through the ceiling like liquid sunrise. The protagonist throws up an arm, but the light passes through skin and soul alike, flooding every thought with fire and peace at once. A figure steps through the light, each movement accompanied by the sound of feathers cutting air. Gabriel has arrived, not as myth but as manifestation. The clock halts on the 12th stroke. Message 16, the countdown begins. The light fades to a soft aurora, revealing Gabriel fully, a being both terrible and beautiful, bearing the exhaustion of eternity and the tenderness of dawn. His wings unfold like mirrors repaired by mercy, their edges drip with fractured starlight. The protagonist cannot move, only stare. You came back, they whisper, half accusation, half prayer. Gabriel's eyes glow like molten gold rimmed with storm. I never left, he says, his voice resonating through walls and veins alike. Only your hearing faltered. The air trembles as his wings stir, scattering sparks that dissolve into whispering blue motes. Why me? The human asks again. Gabriel steps closer, every feather a hymn. Because you carry a key only fear kept hidden. The protagonist feels it then, something awakening inside their chest, luminous and heavy. The clock restarts, ticking now like a heartbeat shared between them. Message 17, the inner war. Panic surges. The protagonist wants to flee, to deny this blazing truth that breaks every rule of sanity. But a deeper part yearns to believe, to surrender. The room contracts and expands like a lung. If I run, will you follow? They whisper. The angel's eyes soften. I do not follow, I remain. The words strike deeper than rebuke, they feel like love. The protagonist presses their palms together, torn between worship and resistance. Their mind flashes through old sins, lost prayers, unkept promises. Shame bites. I'm not pure enough, they say. Purity was never required, Gabriel replies, voice soft as rain. Only courage. Courage is the bridge between hearing and heeding. The ticking accelerates, light sinking with each sound. The air fills with the taste of lightning and tears. The protagonist closes their eyes, realizing escape is no longer possible, only choice remains. Message 18, Faith's fracture. Shadows stretch long and sentient across the walls, each one trembling under the angel's light. The protagonist steps backward, then forward again, caught in a rhythm of fear and surrender. Their voice breaks, if I believe you, everything changes. That is the point, Gabriel answers. He raises a hand, and the golden geometry reforms, now slower, deeper, shaped like a doorway. Through its frame, faint shapes move, visions of other lives, other choices. The protagonist senses what this means, a revelation offered, but only if accepted. Their pulse races. The room smells of storm, charged, inevitable. I can't, they breathe. Gabriel's gaze holds them, unblinking, compassionate yet unrelenting. You can. But will you? The question lingers like thunder waiting to fall. The clock strikes again, and light fractures into countless paths, each leading toward what could be salvation, or silence. Message 19, the flash. A sudden burst of brilliance erases everything. For an instant, there is no room, no air, no sound, only blinding white radiance pulsing with heartbeat and music. The protagonist screams, but no sound emerges. When vision returns, they are on their knees in a field of shifting light, the floor gone, replaced by clouds swirling beneath them. Gabriel stands above, vast and luminous, wings unfurled to span eternity. Do not fear what comes through light, he says. Fear what hides from it. The words roll through the space like prophecy. The protagonist reaches up, trembling. What are you showing me? The truth of what you refuse to see. The light swells again, softer now, resolving into an image, a sphere forming between them, spinning, singing. It hums with creation itself. Within it, memories, choices, lives unlived. And so begins the vision of what was missed. Message 20, Threshold of Revelation. The sphere hovers, brilliant yet fragile. Within its shifting light, the protagonist glimpses fragments of their own life refracted through eternity, moments they dismissed, words they never spoke, kindness withheld out of fear. Every path gleams like a thread of gold, each divergence forming a pattern too vast for comprehension. Gabriel's hand extends, not commanding but inviting. "Look," he says. "You feared divine silence, yet it was only waiting for your yes." The protagonist reaches toward the sphere, fingers brushing light that feels like warmth and memory entwined. Within, they see one path flickering, dimming faster than the rest. The angel's gaze darkens. That is the hour now passing. Understanding strikes like lightning. The danger isn't punishment, it's loss. Of time, of chance, of grace. The protagonist whispers, "Then teach me to listen." And for the first time, Gabriel smiles. Message 21, The Messenger Revealed. Gabriel stands fully before them now, no longer half-glimpsed through light, but entirely manifested in the trembling air. His form is radiant yet wounded, the sheen of his armor cracked where eons of sorrow have worn the gold thin. Every movement releases a sigh of wings, fragments of light scattering like sparks from a forge of mercy. The protagonist sees constellations reflected in his eyes, galaxies bending in reverence. He is both glory and exhaustion embodied. "Beloved," the angel says, "voice the sound of rain across eternity. I am not angered, I am sent again for mercy." The words fall like balm and blade at once. The protagonist lowers their gaze, unable to bear the magnitude of such tenderness. Their body folds toward the floor, trembling, not from fear but recognition. The presence presses close, wrapping them in a warmth that feels like sunlight learning forgiveness. "Rise," Gabriel whispers, "for we speak now as two who remember each other." Message 22, The Weight of Light. The protagonist lifts their eyes, half blinded. Around Gabriel, light thickens into a visible gravity, bending space as if creation itself obeys his sorrow. Feathers trail glimmers that dissolve before touching ground. "You look tired," they murmur, surprised by their own compassion. Gabriel's smile flickers, ancient, knowing. Every messenger bears the cost of mercy deferred. The admission cracks something open inside the human heart. They feel the enormity of divine patience, of countless nights when the call went unanswered. "I didn't know," they whisper. "You were never meant to know pain this way," the angel replies. The chamber trembles, its edges fading to horizonless gold. "Then why me? Why return?" Gabriel's gaze softens until it is almost human. "Because you still remember enough light to choose it." In that moment, the weight between them changes, no longer judgment, but invitation. Message 23, The Sphere Awakens. Gabriel extends one hand. From the space between his palms a sphere of living brilliance blooms, rotating slowly, humming with the frequency of heartbeat in him. Inside, rivers of light twist like threads of destiny. The protagonist steps nearer, captivated. What is it? "Memory woven through possibility," the angel says. "A vision of what was offered, and what remains to be reclaimed." The sphere expands until it fills the room, its glow soft yet infinite. Inside, images begin to form, faces, crossroads, forgotten promises. The hum becomes melodic, every tone aligning with the protagonist's pulse until emotion and revelation are indistinguishable. They reach toward the orb, warmth floods through their fingers, neither fire nor light but awareness. Gabriel watches, silent and sorrowful. The sphere's surface ripples, ready to reveal what the mortal once ignored. Message 24. The paths of unmade choices. Within the sphere, countless filaments extend outward like veins of light, branching in patterns that mimic roots beneath the world. Each one pulses with scenes, decisions once small, now immense. The protagonist sees themselves standing at doors never opened, answering calls they never made, offering words of forgiveness left unsaid. The glow of every path sings a faint, unique tone, forming a symphony of might have been. One strand flickers and darkens, its hum breaking. What is happening to it, they ask. Every neglected mercy dims, Gabriel answers quietly. Each path untaken hums a note unheard, until silence overtakes the song. The sound of that dying strand echoes like a final heartbeat. The protagonist feels tears burning hot trails down their face. Can it be restored? The angel's wings stir once. Only if you listen now. The darkened thread begins to spark, trembling on the edge of renewal, or oblivion. Message 25. The vision trembles. The sphere shudders as if alive, its inner constellations colliding. Sparks fly outward, filling the air with scent of ozone and roses. Gabriel raises a hand, steadying the chaos, his wings flare, scattering shards of light that settle like ash. Do not fear what you see, he says. Fear forgetting it. The protagonist gazes into the storm of images, each fragment a truth once too painful to bear. They watch their own face turning away from kindness, their silence wounding those who loved them. I didn't mean to, they whisper. Intention shapes mercy, not erases it, Gabriel replies. The light stabilizes, resolving into calm, yet the memory of that storm lingers like thunder just beyond hearing. In its stillness, the protagonist realizes, revelation isn't punishment, it is a mirror. Message 26. The dim path. The faintest glow remains, one path, barely flickering. Within it, a child's laughter, a promise, a sunrise long missed. The protagonist steps closer, each movement sends ripples through the sphere. That one, they whisper, drawn instinctively. Yes, Gabriel says, his tone reverent. The thread of courage, left unclaimed. The light inside that path begins to sputter, fading faster. A vibration builds in the air, as though the universe mourns. If it goes dark, the angel warns, a song meant for this world will never be sung. Desperation seizes the human. Then teach me how to save it. Gabriel's expression becomes fierce and gentle all at once. You do not save light, you answer it. The path flares briefly, alive under their gaze, then steadies into fragile gold. For the first time, hope has a sound. Message 27. Consequence revealed. The orb expands again, now showing not memory but prophecy. Storm clouds gather over a sleeping city, lightning arcing in slow motion like veins of judgment. The streets below glisten with rain that never falls. This is the world when mercy is unheard, Gabriel intones. Time becomes hunger, faith becomes echo. The protagonist watches buildings flicker, people move unaware beneath impending ruin. Can this be changed? They plead. Beloved, time is mercy wearing away. His wings beat once, thunder rolling across the vision. Then what must I do? Remember what you were created to answer. The angel's face is radiant with compassion fierce as flame. The storm freezes, waiting on their decision. In that suspended moment, silence feels heavier than sound. Message 28, turning toward choice. The sphere's glow softens, wrapping the protagonist in its light. Within that hush, they sense every breath they've ever taken as a petition unspoken. I thought angels commanded, they murmur. Gabriel's eyes blaze brighter. Heaven never commands love. It invites it. The words break something open. The protagonist straightens, shoulders trembling under invisible weight. Then I choose to act, they say. A tremor passes through the sphere, relief, recognition, renewal. The angel's wings fold close, sheltering them. Then listen for the door that opens in faith, not fear. Two rays of light emerge within the vision, one gold, one indigo, shimmering like choices personified. The hum of destiny gathers around them, waiting for touch. Message 29, the fire of decision. They stand before the twin doors of light, each exhaling radiant mist. The gold pulses with calm, the indigo with mystery. Which is right? The protagonist asks. Gabriel steps behind them, his presence a wind of warmth. Right is the door you open with trust. Trembling, they extend a hand toward the golden threshold. The handle flares, searing but not wounding. Fire races up their arm, filling them with vision, of the child's laughter restored, of the storm dissolving, of countless souls waking to light. Pain becomes illumination. They cry out, but the cry turns to prayer mid-breath. Do not fear the burning, Gabriel whispers, for it is only what separates you from what you are. The flame subsides, leaving their hand luminous. The door begins to open. Message 30, entering the vision. Light floods through the opening, swallowing sound, space, and fear. The protagonist steps forward, feeling the boundary of the world stretch like skin made of dawn. Behind them, Gabriel's voice follows, low and eternal, walk as if you remember you were made of stars. The ground beneath their feet dissolves into radiant mist, every heartbeat becomes a drumbeat in creation's symphony. Ahead, they see the sphere hovering, smaller now, orbiting them like a new sun. Is this real? They ask, voice trembling. More real than what fear taught you to believe, Gabriel answers. In that instant, all divisions vanish, the human and the divine breathing the same air, sharing the same silence. The protagonist exhales, and the light exhales with them. Revelation has begun its healing work. Message 31, the storm within the sphere. The vision widens, no longer confined to the sphere, it spills into reality itself. Clouds churn across the ceiling, thunder murmuring like a wounded choir. Gabriel stands within the tempest, his wings outstretched, each feather catching lightning. The city below trembles in spectral miniature, its towers bending under invisible weight. "This is what happens when the call is silenced," he says, his tone neither wrath nor pity, but truth incarnate. The protagonist stares, seeing faces in the storm, people sleepwalking through despair, their eyes reflecting the absence of faith. The sight crushes them. "Can't I stop it?" "You can," Gabriel replies. "But not by shouting to the heavens. By listening to the silence between the thunder." The words strike deep, they sound less like command, more like remembrance. Outside, rain begins to fall, not real rain, but liquid light, drenching the room with sorrow. The clock resumes its merciless ticking. Message 32, Mercy wearing away. Every droplet of luminous rain carries a reflection, moments when compassion could have altered a path, when mercy was possible but delayed. The protagonist sinks to their knees as the images fall upon them, soaking into skin like revelation. Gabriel's voice drifts through the downpour. "Time is mercy wearing away." The phrase repeats, layering meaning upon meaning until it becomes both comfort and warning. "Then what is left?" they cry. "Choice," he says simply. "Always choice." His eyes, vast as dawn, regard the mortal with affection that burns. "I don't know if I'm strong enough." Strength is only fear that's been blessed with purpose. Lightning flickers again, this time forming shapes, circles of prayer, threads of memory, the architecture of hope. The storm pauses, held by expectancy. Gabriel lowers his gaze. It is not too late. But it soon will be. Message 33, The Thunder of Wings. A great wind rises from nowhere, whipping through the chamber. The sound of wings fills the air, not Gabriel's alone, but echoes of countless unseen messengers, each beat resonating through eternity. The walls tremble, candles extinguish themselves in awe. "Are they coming?" the protagonist asks, voice barely audible. "They have always been here," Gabriel replies. "You hear them now because you have finally stopped denying the music." The chorus of wings swells, becoming a tempest of sound that vibrates through flesh and memory. It's not frightening, it's holy, vast, and unbearably intimate. Tears stream down the protagonist's face as understanding blooms. Angels do not arrive, they reveal what was never absent. "I can hear them," they whisper. Gabriel smiles faintly. "Then you are closer to salvation than you believe." The thunder softens, leaving only the gentle rhythm of grace unfolding. Message 34, The Frozen Storm. In one breath, the tempest halts, rain suspended midair, each droplet a tiny prism of light reflecting infinity. Gabriel steps forward, his expression grave yet tender. The protagonist stands within the frozen vision, light painting their face in shards of gold and blue. The angel's gaze turns toward them fully now, no longer distant or veiled. "You can still change this," he says. The words echo as if spoken by 1,000 voices layered in time. The frozen droplets hum softly, awaiting decision. The protagonist feels the weight of creation's gaze, each atom holding its breath. "How?" they whisper. "By remembering you are the answer you prayed for." The statement shakes the air, dissolving the vision. The droplets burst into light, showering down like stars dissolving into morning. When they open their eyes, only Gabriel remains, and 2 doors of light await. Message 35, the doors of light. Before them stand the doors, one of gold, steady and radiant, one of indigo, shifting like deep water. Each hums with a distinct vibration, the resonance of opposing truths. Gabriel gestures between them, wings folding to rest. Every choice opens a heaven, or delays it. The protagonist studies the doors, feeling the heat of the golden one and the cool whisper of the indigo. What lies behind each? Intention, Gabriel replies. One leads where you mean, the other where you fear. The air trembles with unspoken consequence. The protagonist hesitates, so many paths, so much weight. What if I choose wrong? Then grace will follow and teach you how to begin again. Relief and terror intertwine. They reach toward the gold, but hesitation freezes them. Gabriel watches, patient yet urgent. My child, step through intention, not fear. Message 36, the trembling hand. Their hand hovers before the golden door, trembling like a candle flame caught between winds. The handle pulses with inner fire, light wrapping around it like breath. I don't trust myself, they whisper. Gabriel's voice gentles. Then trust the one who sent me. The words steady them, anchoring the heart beyond logic. Slowly, trembling fingers make contact. Pain floods the arm, not agony, but purification. Every lie, doubt, and bitterness burns away like paper in sunlight. The scent of ozone and salt fills the air. The protagonist gasps, tears falling freely now. It hurts. All healing does. The door's glow brightens, as if feeding on surrender. They grip harder, until resistance becomes release. The handle no longer burns, it sings, a single perfect tone. The protagonist exhales and pushes. Message 37, the burning passage. As the door opens, fire pours outward, not consuming, but clarifying. The room beyond is a tunnel of light that seems to stretch into eternity, walls made of breath and memory. The protagonist steps forward, each motion dissolving another layer of fear. Gabriel follows at a distance, his expression proud yet mournful. Few cross willingly, he murmurs. Will I survive it? You will not remain unchanged. Flames brush against their skin, igniting visions, every moment of cruelty repurposed into compassion, every regret reshaped into prayer. They stumble but do not fall. The corridor vibrates with the sound of heartbeats and hymns. Halfway through, the protagonist looks back. The doorway is closing. Gabriel's silhouette stands framed in gold. Go on, he commands softly. You're almost home. Message 38, the space beyond time. They emerge into silence deeper than sound. Stars drift through darkness like slow tears. Yet even the stars seem to breathe, pulsing in rhythm with the protagonist's chest. They realize they're standing within something alive, perhaps memory, perhaps eternity. Gabriel's voice arrives without movement, an echo folded inside thought. Beloved, every prayer unanswered waits here. The words resonate through the void, and suddenly the stars brighten, each one a petition long forgotten, names, hopes, pleas. The protagonist turns, seeing their own prayers among them, glowing faintly but still burning. Awe replaces fear. They feel weightless, free of time's constraint. So this is heaven? No, Gabriel replies. This is remembrance. Message 39, the Chamber of Release. Within that boundless expanse, warmth gathers, first gentle, then overwhelming. The protagonist feels every regret surface, shimmering like bubbles rising to burst. They weep openly, not from despair but from recognition. The more they release, the brighter the space becomes. Gabriel watches, wings folded, his expression filled with unspeakable tenderness. This is what forgiveness sounds like, he says. The words ripple outward, transforming sorrow into music. Each tear that falls becomes a star newly born. I thought healing would hurt, they whisper. It does, Gabriel replies. And yet it frees the hands to hold light again. The darkness thins until it is nothing but dawn. Message 40, the last threshold. At the far edge of the luminous chamber, a final door stands, neither gold nor indigo, but transparent, woven from sound itself. Beyond it, faint rays of mortal dawn beckon. Gabriel approaches, eyes bright as the first sunrise ever seen. You have done what few dare, he says. The protagonist nods, exhaustion mingling with serenity. What happens if I step through? You return, he answers, but not as before. They look back, at the stars, at the prayers reborn, at the angel whose radiance now flickers like a closing hymn. Will I see you again? In every act of listening, Gabriel promises. The protagonist takes a deep breath, places their hand upon the door, and steps through the light. Message 41, crossing the threshold. The moment the protagonist steps through, the world folds into radiance. The sound of choirs and heartbeat merge until it is impossible to tell which keeps the rhythm of life. Stars revolve in corridors of memory, spiraling around them like living stained glass. The air glows with the color of mercy. They feel the ground, if it can be called that, beneath their feet composed of every promise ever kept. Where am I? They ask, though the question feels smaller than the silence. Between what was and what can be, Gabriel answers. His voice no longer thunders, it soothes, threaded with pride and peace. The protagonist sees echoes of themselves walking other paths, each redeemed by light. The awe is unbearable, yet gentle. The threshold widens, welcoming them not as a trespasser but as a returning note of an unfinished song. Message 42, the Choir of Remembered Souls. A chorus rises, not from angels, but from the hearts of every life ever touched by grace. Their voices layer like wind over water, singing a melody older than time. The protagonist listens and recognizes fragments of their own laughter, their own tears woven among the notes. Beloved, Gabriel murmurs, you have always been part of this choir. You simply forgot the tune. The realization pierces them with joy too vast for language. Around them, galaxies pulse like lungs exhaling peace. They begin to hum, tentative at first, then stronger. Their voice joins the multitude until harmony replaces heartbeat. The universe seems to breathe easier. Light gathers at their throat, shimmering with the power of truth spoken aloud. I remember now, they whisper, and the sound becomes a dawn across eternity. Message 43, the River of Light. The music dissolves into a river flowing through the sky, each current made of shimmering prayers. The protagonist kneels beside it, dipping their hands into the glow. The sensation is indescribable: warmth, forgiveness, infinite gentleness. Every drop whispers a name they once forgot, every ripple answers a question they were too afraid to ask. Gabriel stands beside them, wings folded like resting constellations. "Drink," he says softly. They do, and the liquid light fills their chest with stillness, washing away the echo of fear. Time stops meaning what it once did. They see themselves reflected in the water, not as fragile flesh, but as light remembering its source. "Is this what you wanted me to find?" "Not find," Gabriel says. "Remember." The river brightens until it is no longer water but the pulse of a living universe. Message 44, Release of Guilt. The protagonist rises, radiant with quiet understanding. Every sorrow once hidden in their bones loosens, unraveling into beams of color that drift upward like lanterns. "I thought redemption meant punishment," they whisper. Gabriel's eyes soften, and even his battle-worn light seems renewed. Punishment belongs to forgetting, redemption is remembrance. The words strike the air like a bell. The last shadow slips from the protagonist's heart, dissolving into gold dust. Warmth floods the chamber. All around, echoes of other souls sigh with relief, as if one healing has mended many. For the first time, the human feels whole, ordinary and infinite at once. They look to Gabriel, awe mingling with gratitude too deep to voice. "Thank you." The angel bows his head. "You thanked me by listening." Message 45, now you understand. Light swells until everything fades but brilliance. Voices quiet, shapes blur, and the world becomes a single tone, gentle, vast, absolute. In that pure whiteness, only Gabriel's voice remains. "Now you understand." The protagonist feels those words rather than hears them, they vibrate through marrow and memory alike. It isn't comprehension, it's communion. Every doubt unravels, every question folds into peace. The sound expands outward, reshaping what once was wound into something like grace. Then silence, complete, kind, infinite. For a long moment, there is no distinction between angel and human, speaker and listener, light and listener's breath. Then a final whisper threads through the stillness: "Return, precious soul. Carry dawn with you." Message 46, Before Dawn. The light recedes, not abruptly but gently, like the tide. The protagonist wakes on the floor of their own room. The air smells of rain and new beginnings. Outside, the first blush of morning edges the horizon. For a moment, they wonder if it was a dream, but the silence holds a different weight now, alive, aware. A single white feather rests beside them, its edges faintly luminous. The clock shows 5:58 a.m., 2 minutes before sunrise. They touch their chest, their heartbeat feels slower, stronger, steadier, as if echoing a celestial rhythm. "I made it before nightfall," they murmur. From nowhere, a faint echo answers, "Yes, you listened." Message 47, Gabriel's Farewell. A breeze stirs the curtains, carrying the faint scent of myrrh and ozone. Light spills across the floor, refracting through unseen wings. The voice comes one last time, soft as the hush before a hymn. My child, you listen before nightfall, that is enough. The words settle over them like a benediction. Tears rise, not from sorrow, but from gratitude too vast to hold. The morning sun climbs, scattering prisms through the feather's delicate barbs. For a fleeting instant, they see Gabriel's silhouette in the refracted light, smiling, weary, eternal. Then it fades, leaving only sunlight and the quiet promise of another day. Message 48, The Quiet Morning. Birdsong weaves through open windows. The world seems newly washed, as though creation has exhaled and begun again. The protagonist moves slowly, every gesture deliberate. They pour water, feel its clarity, taste its miracle. Ordinary things gleam with revelation. They look to the feather resting on the table, unchanged, yet somehow alive. A single droplet of morning light refracts through it, casting a small rainbow across their hand. They whisper, "Heaven isn't far. It's only unheard." The phrase surprises them, it sounds like truth wearing their own voice. Outside, church bells ring faintly, though no church is near. Somewhere unseen, the air hums approval. Message 49, Integration. All day, they carry the silence within them like a heartbeat. Every sound, the murmur of the street, the laughter of strangers, feels threaded with light. At dusk, they return to the window where it began. The world glows not with urgency now, but with understanding. They open their palm, the feather gleams faintly even as night gathers. I will listen next time, they vow. The wind answers in soft currents through the room, and for a heartbeat, the faint impression of wings flickers in the twilight. The protagonist smiles, not in disbelief, but recognition. Heaven hasn't left, it's waiting in every pause between heartbeats. Message 50, Closing Line. The final night comes gently. Moonlight pools across the feather, refracting into a spectrum that dances across the walls. The protagonist stands in that glow, peaceful, listening to the hush between the world's breaths. Gabriel's final words return, not as a voice from above, but as the quiet within their own heart. Precious soul, heed the quiet next time. Within it, I am already speaking. The clock ticks once more, not warning this time, but keeping time with peace. Outside, the city breathes, unaware that a divine conversation has ended and begun again in silence. The protagonist closes their eyes. Night falls. But the soul remains awake, forever listening.